Good morning, world. It is Monday morning here in Jamaica. I gotta see what time it is. I think it's about 8 o'clock. Um, and it's a beautiful day. Hold on, let me let you see. I am standing at my front porch, um, and it's really a beautiful morning. So, from last night, if you've been following me, and I'm doing this video for my family and friends and people who follow me on social media. So thank you for caring about me. In Jamaica, right? But I'm in the front of our yard here, and it's just me and my husband here. Um, so I want to give you a walk around of what we will be dealing with and what we will be dealing with and how structure, if I'm saying this all right, right, affects everything when it comes to hurricane season here. Um, if you don't know, um, most homes are built concrete, right? So this house is built concrete. It's all concrete. The door here did not come with the house. So when these houses were built, they were built with your regular white doors, which to me are not really strong doors, right? So earlier this year, my husband and I had brand new security doors installed. So we have one installed in the front, and when I get to the back of the house, I'll show you that. This is called a security door, and it's a very strong door, okay? Um, so these are some things to keep in mind if you are seeking to get a home here or rent a home here, what you should look for, when buying, especially for hurricane season. And just like many of us, right, you start where you can, right? You make a budget, and it took us some time to get certain things done, but we got it done, right? So now I'm just looking at the winds. So you can hear the winds, right? And I hope you guys can hear me in between the winds because I'm not wearing a mic or anything. I'm trying to do this really quick. Um, but yeah, and I am safe, right? I am safe, guys. So now from our main door, we have our grill. This is common in Jamaica. We have a lot grill. It's an iron grill, and this is how our porch is set up. So this is the porch in the front yard, right? Now, as you see here, we have a pine tree. This is good and bad. This is from my perspective, okay? This is good because it is a privacy. This is why this was put here. And just just a disclaimer, my mother-in-law is the one that came up with the structure of the family home. You know, she had this all laid out, and God bless her. You know, um, so the pine tree shields you from some debris, but it's more so a privacy um, protection here. But as it relates to hurricane, right? When I say it's good and bad, it's because of the height of the pine tree, right? And if it's an old tree that has not been taken care of and manicured, it can, during the gusts and the winds, right? Um, those limbs and stuff can fly around. So those are precautions you want to take, right? I am confident that this is a very strong tree. I'm confident with this whole house. This house was built on some great spiritual foundation. So I promise you, this house is nicely secure. These trees are nicely secure. But if you don't know your trees, right, you need to pay attention to this. One of the things I don't like is it's outgrown, and eventually we have to get someone to cut it down. It's too close to the wires, and that's dangerous. I see that a lot here in Jamaica where the palm trees outgrow the wires. At one point, we had a wire coming across here that we had to call and had them get rid of because it was lingering. And I'm only 5'4", and that's how low it was. It was like right above me. So when my husband would walk by, he would have to duck, and that's dangerous. And that happens a lot in Jamaica. So, right, real talk. So this is good for protection for anything that may come because it's like a shield, but you also got to also look out for any loose limbs or anything like that, right? And then we have our palm tree in the yard. And although I love these trees, but the branches, as you see, they fall. And these things are not light, they're heavy. That's why they become nice, breezy elements in these yards. But when they fall and by about time the storm comes, all of this is going to be on the ground, all those leaves, right? Again, that's debris that you have to be careful for. This is why when the winds pick up and the gusts, you really should not be outside during this time, okay? um, so now we're going to go walk, and as y'all see, this yard is very outgrown. Hasn't been cut, I'm gonna say, for a good old month. Why? Because that's how much rain we had. And this is before we just had so much rain. And so the grass is just damp. It's just damp. So let's, okay, so I want to say this. So during the storm, which is what we normally do, you should keep your gate locked. Don't let it, swing about, because iron does not protect you from um, the hurricane, the winds or whatever. You don't want it to be loose, so you want to always secure it. You know, you always want to make sure it's secure. So by nightfall, this will be secured and locked. Um, as I was stating, we have not gotten any yard work done for the past month, to be exact. That's how much rain we've had. Rain is good for nourishment, but a lot of it will saturate the ground, and the ground is very saturated. It's very saturated, right? So I'm going to walk you on two sides of my house for two main reasons. And so let me see if I can turn this around. This is how much rain has been coming. So when rain comes here, your concrete, if not tile, looks like this, right? It just looks horrible. And I've grown to understand that. But the yard is fenced, right? So that will protect our yard from any major debris that may come, big debris that may come in this yard. And we never expect big debris because we live in a community that's um, all concrete. If I put it that way, it's all concrete, right? Um, wow, that one is beautiful. It's all concrete. So, but it's up a hill. And so one of the factors of that is you won't get that mudslide. We would never experience a mudslide here, um, because the rain, and I don't know if you can see from the road, the rain would, let's see if I can come out here. See, that's like a hilltop. So the rain will always run. Okay. And this is what it looks like when the palm trees start to fall. That's how those limbs look. So this is the side of my neighbor's home where, as you see, it's elevated. So when you walk towards that area, you're actually walking up a hill, okay? And this is our driveway, which is very long, but I'm only showing parts of it, right? Now, we have our bedroom window here. One of the things I realized, and as you see, these windows are very small. These are your regular windows that were put in when the house was built. So with this window, right, it's protected for the most part on the side of the house because of this house here because it's elevated. Even though it's the same size, it's elevated because it sits on a hill. So I will not get much debris or wind coming this way because of that little protection of the elevation of the house next to us, right? So, and this is the bathroom window, same concept, but the smaller the window, the less effect that you will have. And again, the elevation of the house next to us gives us some type of protection. So these windows here, bedroom windows, the side of the house. And then you have my neighbor's house where construction is being done. So they're in the back have a two-story that they're working on. And compared to where we at, this is the top of our house. And this is, right? So we'll get some type of wind protection, right? Just giving you a concept, right? And then our house sits behind an old farm. So this community used to be an old farm where fruit trees grow and everything, right? Let me see if you give it a better view. So when they built this community, they built a fence going across this whole scheme, right? So all that's back there is what you see, nature, right? Nature, beautiful nature. I actually love this. But then you have banana trees back here, plantain trees back there that we can't get to. They just growing. So I guess God is like, we're gonna provide for the land. All right. So this is the mango tree, which is one of my concerns because she's outgrown herself. So you see how high she is compared to the house. She's a sturdy tree, right? But again, doing winds and gusts, she'll protect the house from any major debris. But still, anytime you have these tall trees in your yard, you got to expect debris to come from them, which is why you have to be inside, right? You have to be inside, okay? And so any debris that comes, this is the back of the yard. So the only window back here is the bathroom window from the suite in the back of the house, okay? Then we have our water system here, and thankfully we're gonna have plenty of water. But these are emergency bins that we keep all the time. So anytime I have a package come, I use blue bins now because you can use them for water. So these are all of our emergency water, which we will use for like the toilet, if we have to flush anything. We never drink these waters at all. Okay. Now this is an old banana tree. We have lots of banana trees back here, but this one had to get cut down before our grandkids came. It was leaning. And my husband had to cut it down, but we had like literally 60 bananas and we just had to come and pick them out from the yard. So now she's done bearing. She will grow again because the root of a banana tree is always strong. She will flourish again along with the other ones that are coming, but the yard needs to be manicured, right? So again, we're not going to get any major mud around here because we tiled this area this year. This was tiled, right? So yes, we'll get mud within the garden area, but this used to be an open section with grass that when it rained, it was a mess. It used to look like this, and we tiled it. And eventually, a lot of this area will be tiled because of the fact when it starts to rain and all, it just becomes a mess. But the way it's set up right now, we're good. So these are the trees that we have in the yard. This tree here has overgrown. This is where my patio umbrella would be, and I took it down. I laid it down, I took it down. This tree will definitely have lots of limbs tonight if the wind picks up. As you see, just the little winds here, you see the branches falling off. So this tree, when all this is said and done, she will be trimmed down. We would have to find someone professional, a professional person, because the yard man does this, he does trimming. So what he'll do is trim all of this. When he comes, I always tell him, make sure you trim it. So this is where our line is. So he definitely trims all of this. It's really outgrown. And then he will trim the walkway, right? So right now, the walkway is fine, but he would trim this. And when I say trim, he wouldn't chop it off, because I love this. He would have to fix this tree because it's leaning. But yeah, okay. So this is where we will get, so this is the back of the house where this used to be a nice, well, still nice, but this is where my husband worked out. We had a partition up, if you watch my earlier videos, which gave us privacy, but I took all of it down, for precautionary reasons, and we just wrapped all of his, well, we've always kept his workout bench and stuff covered with a cover that we bought from Amazon. So it's 2 of them. And then we just put, this is the curtain that we use for our partition that was here, giving us some privacy. So now, if the winds pick up tonight and there's gusts, we will get whatever type of debris that comes this way. And thankfully, my neighbor doesn't have trees in her yard or anything in her yard. So we're not going to get much debris that's going to come this way. Because if you see in the far, there's a lot of homes that are elevated, which helps slow down whatever gusts or whatever. Doesn't mean that I won't get anything, but perspective for me is good. So whatever debris that's going to come will affect this area because she's open, right? It's all open. But this is the other secure door that we got for the back bedroom here. And we didn't get a door like this for here because of the walkway. That's another video. But these are brand new doors is what I'm saying. So they're going to be tested tonight. So that's the kitchen window. She will not be affected because, again, she's covered under the porch area. And again, the establishment of this home is all concrete, which is made for Caribbean lifestyle, right? And then this is one of the bigger windows for the bedroom, right? So this window is prone because it's open, okay? But again, we still have the trees here, and this is the backyard. And so, again, the way it's structured, she's not going to get much hit, but you just never know, right? So anytime you have windows, you always want to make sure that the curtains inside are closed. So God forbid any type of damage to your windows, right? At least the curtain would stop any debris from coming further. So right now, the kitchen window is open for the breeze, but everything will be closed, as the winds pick up tonight. Yeah. So now on the other side of, I don't know, did we go on this side? This is the other walkway. So this house, you can walk around the whole area. So this is where we're going to get more of the flooding. And when I say flooding, that's exaggerating, but this is where, and I believe is the elevation of where, how the house is elevated. And we always get this, and I'm still trying to figure out how to avoid this. But this is where the puddle comes when it really rains. And this side of the house is the common ground area. So this is the dining area window, which again, she gets hit more. And when I say hit more, because when it rains and when the wind comes, this window has to stay closed because the rain literally will come into the dining room. So we have, we keep a old sheet or towel by the window because we like to have this window open. But sometimes when it rains, it's nice when it rains, but if that wind pick up, it'll get wet, right? So we definitely have to watch this area for the window. And again, because it's open to my neighbor who doesn't have any trees or anything. And so this area is prone to whatever is coming, right? I'm going to go back this way because I don't want to walk in the water. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview of, living in the island and how to properly prepare yourself. So, for example, you want to make sure that you have things in your yard that can be picked up. Because even though it's not tornado, right, those winds could pick things up. And so we have her situated here. This is where she always stays. I forget what you call it, but this is something I purchased for me to use in the yard. And we keep it there. But I have a chain that keeps her in place. So you want to go through your yard and make sure you don't have anything loose that can be picked up in the winds, right? And the only thing that I see that I need to pick up in this garden is that green container, because I took out the dirt because I was getting ready to replant. But things like that. So I situated in between the old planter we have here. This is all old stuff that we had in the yard that I may have to remove. But this is iron. So I feel comfortable with her being there. So I may just put the green pot inside of her after I put my gloves on, guys. But yeah, so everything else I'm comfortable with in the garden. So again, you want to make sure that you don't have any loose tools in your yard that could be picked up. I mean, you shouldn't be out here anyway when the gusts and stuff pick up. But even right now, if I had anything that was light and the winds pick up, right, that can be damaging. So I'm always coming out in the morning just to see, did I miss anything? Because I do my walks. Like I said, I walk around here. So there's really nothing in here. And that white bag there, that is sand. Yeah, that is sand. Extra sand that we have. So always check your yard for any debris. So always check your yard. I feel like something was in my eye. Always check your yard for any type of debris. Make sure that if you can, and it's safe, that if you can cut down any lingering branches, do so. My husband's like, he ain't messing with anything right now. Well, he's been through several hurricanes here. Thankfully, I'm gonna say thankfully, a lot of times when the hurricanes came, I was in the States, and so he reminded me the other day that, Jackie, you was here during a hurricane last year. I didn't know it was a hurricane. I didn't pay attention because it was like a regular day where a lot of rain just came, and it did affect certain areas down by the hip strip. And that's when I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was a hurricane. I can't think of the name, but it was last year around this time. So hurricane season is real, you know. You just got to prepare for it. And if you don't properly prepare for it, then things happen, you know. You just have to prepare. In life, you have to prepare for a lot of things, right? But if you're living on the island, you know, Caribbean island, I'm gonna say, because it's not just Jamaica, right? If you're living on an island, or even areas like Florida, right? Because when I'm not in Jamaica, I'm in Florida. I'm actually stationed in Lakeland, Florida. I go between Lakeland and Bartow, and those are inland areas, right? But even when I was in Jamaica last year? And the hurricane came to Florida. My son's home, at the time he had his first home was in Lakeland, and the eye of the storm moved to his arena, and he's inland, okay? And that was a rough 24 hours for them, you know? So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, because I'm inland, because where I'm at, I am inland. I'm not by the coast, you know. still, you just never know. So you can't count yourself out. You still got to have that mindset to prepare. You still got to have that mindset to be ready. And don't think that you can't be touched, because this weather is not ours, you know? And we're going to leave that as, we're going to leave it there, because I've had some conversations where I'm like, who's doing, what's going on with this weather? And I just feel it's a mixture, right, of man and God, right? And so whatever it is, right, we have to prepare ourselves. We have to, you know, make rational decisions. Unfortunately, there are people who believe in writing things out because of their love for their home and materialistic stuff, right? To each its own. But one thing I've never gotten attached to is materialistic things, because you can always replace material things. You cannot replace your life, okay? So it's so important to understand, even like right now, I've been doing these videos and my nails are like a mess. So I've been taking them off because I can't get to the nail salon. My husband's like, that's not important, right? Only go out when you need to go out. And so he's right. It's not important, because you just don't know how this weather is going to change. So like when I found out Friday, I didn't know a hurricane was coming. We've been getting all this rain. I happen to see messages in my DM from Facebook talking about, oh, you okay? And I'm like, what is everyone talking about? Right? Because I am not a TV watcher. I don't really sit around and just watch the news, right? I know it's hurricane season. We've been getting a lot of rain. And when I saw that, and then one person sent me what is it? A picture. And I was like, oh, we got a hurricane coming in about 3 days. This was Friday. So there was an assumption, which is why I made this video too. There was an assumption that Hurricane Melissa was here. And I want to set the record straight. Hurricane Melissa has not landed as of Monday morning of this video that I will be posting shortly. She has not landed. What you've been seeing is the effects of what she's doing in that water. Okay? That's how strong it is. So Friday we got spats of rain here. And it was just beautiful. I find it fascinating because there was a moment where there was this dark cloud, right? Just one dark cloud. And it sat right in front of the house. And looked like it was coming towards me. Because I've been praying, right? I don't care what y'all say. Prayer changes things, okay? So when I found out that we had a hurricane coming and it was too late to fly out. Not that I was going to fly out and leave my husband, but it's a thought. But anywho, I was like, I called my husband because he was out working, and I'm like, you're in Fairview? Is it raining there? Because that's what happens. Now, Fairview is with traffic about 35 minutes from us. The weather could be, and you guys experience this, you could be in Fairview and it could be pouring rain, and you can be here and no rain. That's how it works. Well, this cloud, I knew it was rain coming. And my husband was like, no, it's not raining here. And I was like, well, you need to get home soon because something is coming. I was like, you need to be in this house before 5 o'clock. So he's like, I'm okay. So 10 minutes later, that cloud started moving towards me. That's how I took it. It was moving towards me. So me and God was talking. I was like, Father, what's going on? Why is this cloud coming towards me? Again, that's how it looked, because I was just studying the clouds that day. I was like a meteorologist that day, just watching it move towards me. And it was beautiful. It opened up with this soft rain. I don't know what you call it. I know it's a name for it, where there's spurts of clouds where rain come out. That was a beautiful moment. I was in the house, of course, because the closer it came, I was like, let me get in the house and watch this from the window. And the rain came, soft, steady, right, for 2 minutes. And then it went away. right? And it did that twice Friday. So now we wake up to Saturday and it's just beautiful out. There's, you know, one of the things you have to balance is your mind. You go on social media, you're going to be scared out of your wits, right? So I'm on social media and some of these meteorologists is like, Jamaica's about to be doomed. There's going to be no more Jamaica. All this stuff. Montego Bay, they saying this stuff. And I'm like, I'm standing here in Montego Bay. There is no hurricane here, right? So be careful what news you listen to, right? Just be careful what news you listen to. And if you're here in Jamaica, then you know what's going on. Allow that to be your peace, regardless of what they're saying in the media. Allow that to be your peace. So for me, and what I mean by that, right, is you can watch a lot of media telling you, oh, it's going to be a category 3, 4, it's going to be the worst. And although that may be true, right? Right now, it's not happening. Allow that to be your moment of, okay, let me prepare if I have not prepared. What are the last things that I need to do, right? And so that's how you got to look at it. Don't just get nervous. I mean, I can't tell you how to feel because it's your emotions, but don't stop there. Look at your surrounding situation and figure out what you need to do, even if you are scared, right? Figure out what you need to do. And that's what I've been doing every day, right? And my husband's like, why are you going outside? I'm like, I just wanted to check everything because that's just what I do while he's calm, you know? I'm not saying I'm not calm because when I'm with my husband, I'm calm, right? I'm good. I'm good. I got God and my husband, but I'm just always intrigued. There's a level of intrigueness I find with the weather and just how, wow, all this chaos is happening in Kingston, right? Around the Kingston area right now since Friday. People's been feeling the storm that's coming by way of rain. You got to understand that you may not be directly in the eye of the storm, or you may not be in the surrounding areas or parishes that they talk about, but you're going to get affected, because you're in that community, you're in that vicinity. And although Kingston is about 3 hours from me, and all the parishes that by the coast about 3 hours from me, there's still an effect that we've been seeing here and that we will see later on, even if she doesn't land here, we're going to get something, right? Because she has to pass, right? Whatever she's birthing in that water has to come out, right? And we just hope she just be kind, to Jamaica, you know? We just hope that God can work something out with her, you know? I may be laughing, I'm dead serious, right? Because what it looks like doesn't look good, right? For nobody, right? Because even if you're not in an area where you're affected, people's emotions and anxiety levels can put them at risk of health issues before the storm because they worry, they don't know what to do. And unfortunately, the reality of this world is there's a lot of people who are not financially capable of moving. Health wise, they're not able to move, right? Like the everyday life they have to deal with on top of a storm. So that plays with your mind, that plays with your health, right? And the more stress you deal with, it affects your health. So I've learned to allow what I can control, take advantage of that, and what I can't control, we're gonna pray about it, right? We give that to God. We're gonna pray about it, and so that's what I advise you. After you've done what all you can do, go pray. And while you praying, don't just pray that the storm pass. Pray for your soul. Pray for your heart, because that still has to be ready. We just don't know. We still have to be ready. And that's a hard concept for a lot of people to accept. I was there once where I couldn't really accept. I believe in God and all that, but there was a time where I was like, the whole concept of being ready and what that really means, right? That means that you have to be ready, that you have to leave this world. And it may not be the way you like it. And that's the reality that we have to deal with, unfortunately. I wouldn't say unfortunately, that's just, if we're gonna go biblical on a biblical side, that's that's the life that Adam and Eve have given us. So we now have to bring that home and find peace. Got to find that peace somewhere, so you don't lose yourself, you don't lose your mind, you don't, your health issues don't go wild. Sleep. If you can't do anything else, try to sleep. Right. There's a suggestion I would say at night. I've been doing this for a couple of years. It's called black screen. Turn your TV on, black screen. Listen to instrumentals. No mute, no words, just soft instrumental. Put that on. That will help soothe you at night, especially when it's raining. Oh my God. It's very comfortable. It's very relaxing. And so I just found one where, because during these times where uncertainty is, I love the song Yeshua, you know. So I actually found a black screen where I can hear the melody of Yeshua. I'm not going to sing, but if y'all know, y'all know. But find a melody, find ways to relax yourself. There are ways to relax yourself. Read your scriptures, read your scriptures, talk to someone. If you still have communication, pick up the phone and call someone, right? Pray with someone, but pray for yourself first. Pray for yourself, pray for yourself, pray for your mindset, and pray for your heart, pray for your walk, right? If you need to repent, get them things out the way. And I don't mean just out the way because the storm is coming, but be sincere about it. Why this storm is here, I'm not going to speculate or prophesy, because I'm not going to lie about it. I don't know why she's here, right? I just know that I got to prepare, and that you need to prepare. Do whatever you need to do to prepare for whatever you have to deal with. And even if you're not in the eye of the storm, if you're not in Jamaica, but you have loved ones here, I know the feeling being in the States, right? And my husband being here, that was hard. Because there were moments where, like I said, he's experienced several hurricanes here where he's lost power. God, thankfully, nothing ever else happened, but he lost power. He didn't have no communication. That's hard if you're trying to reach your loved ones and you're in the States or wherever you are. And I know that's what a lot of people is dealing with. So what happens is you're watching the news. They're telling you that everything's going to be devastated. There's not going to be any life left. Like, they are really going ham on this stuff. And you know how much that affect people who constantly is watching this because their loved ones are here. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to say stop watching, but sometimes you have to step back and get balance. Find that balance so you're not stressed out, and find that balance where you're not stressed out to the point you're constantly calling your loved ones here in Jamaica in fear for them and all this stuff, because all you're doing is going to put extra anxiety on them. And I really hope you guys are following me, right? So all of those things we need to consider while we're here in Jamaica, if you are actually in Jamaica, right? And consider that if you are in the States or wherever you are at and you have loved ones here, right? I can assure you right now, Montego Bay, I can only speak for Montego Bay, St. James, right? And I have several friends that that live between Fairview and, so the Fairview direction, and then the Greenwood, if you understand the dynamics of what I'm saying, that I can attest that Montego Bay is doing fine so far. Thank God. I can't speak for any other parishes because I'm not there. I only see what you guys see. I do, like, if I do want an update, I listen to our prime minister, right? Because they give actual facts because they're here, right? Listen to the prime minister, listen to the other meteorologists that are in Jamaica, Okay, guys? There's a few that will give you great information. So if you're not in Jamaica and you really want to know what's going on, tune into them. Tune in, to the Prime Minister. He has a Facebook. You can tune into that Facebook and get valuable information. And then from there, you can research other meteorologists, because I don't know their names off the top of my head, but there are Jamaican meteorologists that you should be following to get your information from, because they are here in real time, right? They're here in real time, you know? So, with that said, I hope this helps one person, you know? I pray that we endure whatever we have to endure, right? Because I've been traveling to Jamaica since 2012, okay? Faithfully. The first trip I did in Jamaica was 1996 when I was pregnant with my daughter. That was a short trip, but I can say since 2012 I've been traveling to Jamaica faithfully, right? And I'm gonna tell you, Jamaica is a very strong island. Okay? I don't even like to say little island, because that little means nothing. Because why? O ye of little faith. All you need is a mustard seed. If you know what a mustard seed looks like, right? From the eyes of people who don't understand or believe, they'll look at that, oh, that little seed can't do anything. That's all you need, a mustard seed of faith, right? Don't look at the island as being a small island. We already know the proximity of the island. We know that. But where's your faith? Where's your foundation? Where's your prayers, your supplications, your your endurance, right? You have to have that in order to get through your day, get through whatever may come, right? Because after this hurricane or storm or tornadoes in your life, there's always going to be another one and another one. As long as you are living on this earth, right? There's always going to be some level of turmoil. There's going to always be some level of hurricanes in your life, and they're not always going to be actual weather. It's going to be the turmoil in your life that you probably have not yet to experience, or some are experiencing on top of these weather conditions, right? So mustard seed faith right now, right? If you got mustard seed faith, right? Hold on to that. Hold on to that faith, okay? Follow me for more. I am on Facebook. I am on YouTube. I'm on TikTok, right? And I'm trying to make sure that I give you guys an update, as much as I can today, and tomorrow. But today is the day they said Melissa is going to come visit us. So it looks like they're saying anything could happen between 6 p.m. tonight, so 6 p.m. Eastern time here in Jamaica, to the early mornings, right? And that's when we are going to actually see where we all stand, because all it takes is a little shift. Last night, and then I'm gonna go. I took a picture of the skyline. Now I've seen this skyline in the States, right? Traveling in the States, because I've been in the States all my life, but I've never seen this skyline in Jamaica. It was breathtaking. I posted it. I wish I could have just stood out there longer, but I was so memorized by it. But I was also respectful of it, like, okay, Father, should I be going in the house? But it was beautiful, right? It was a red skyline mixed with purple, you know. I can't even explain the beauty of that, just standing there before I actually took out my camera. Because, everybody got their cameras out, including me. But there was moments where that you'll never see, that I just sit outside and enjoy this, right? Enjoy the breeze that's coming through. And that skyline represents so many signs, so many things, if you really understand. And I'm a biblical person. So I saw this skyline at 5:55 p.m. last night, Sunday night. Do your do your due diligence of what spiritually 555 mean. And I'm not a I don't believe in what is it called? Um, you know, my birthday is May 19th, right? I can't think of the word, guys. My mind is so oof. But I don't believe in tarot cards and all that stuff. I do believe in spiritual numbers meaning something, right? And I didn't see it at first, but when I was doing the recording, I wanted to do it in real time, and it was 5:55. I saw this skyline, and I went in the house while I was doing my recording and just taking this all in, and that number came up in a spiritual realm, right? And it means something. Even the red skylines mean something. One thing you have to understand is that the skyline does speak, right? The skyline does speak. It warns us. It gives us warnings. It gives us understanding of what's about to come, and that's what the red skyline did for me, right? It's a shift and change. That's what the skyline represents, a shift and change. And it could be promising, and I'm gonna just say it could be bad, it could be good, right? Why? Because it was so peaceful. Like right now we got some winds. Yesterday in the afternoon after the little rain, it got quiet. The earth, the felt like the whole earth was quiet around here. Nothing moved, not even a breeze, right? And it was like that all night. And then you get this skyline, okay? And you always hear the saying, right? The quiet storm, right? The quietness before the storm, the quiet storm, whichever um, uh, terminology you're familiar with, right? But that red purple skyline represent a shift and change. Now, I'm not going to say what shift it means. I just know that it's a shift and change coming, right? It's a sign of preparation. One thing God is always going to do, and I believe that's a sign from God, right? He's always going to give us a sign. Some people call it, you know, the handwriting on the wall, right? But God would always give us a sign if we're paying attention, if we understand it, right? And although it's beautiful in its elements, it's a message in that red purple skyline. And for me, my understanding is something is about to shift in the atmosphere in your life, right? And they both fit what we're experiencing. A shift is coming, right? Now, that shift is going to look different for you and me. The shift is going to even look different, right? Depending on how you look at it. That shift is going to look different for me and my husband. We live under the same roof. Follow me, right? So shifts, when you hear about shifts changing, it's not always weather. It could be your life. It could be the life of the people that you surround yourself with. But understand that skyline last night at 5:55 is your sign that a shift is coming. And I'm sure plenty of people in Montego Bay saw it, because when I did my post, of course, the algorithm will bring up other people that seen the skyline. Okay. That skyline was deeper in Kingston. So that was powerful. Like that skyline looked like, so you see the flower in the yard here? Don't ask me the name of this flower. I can't remember, but it's a beautiful plant. We have a lot of these in our garden, right? That's how that skyline looked. And the more I moved, it changed into red, purple, right? So pay attention to the signs in your life. Pay attention to the handwriting in your life, the handwriting on the wall in your life, right? Because some signs are for you, or some signs is for, right, the area that you're in, whatever it is. But you have to be in a position to ask God, what are you saying to me, Father, right? And after He tells you, you got to act on it. I had a beautiful conversation with my brother last night, and we were talking about this. Like, it's so sobering, to find or to have people in your life that you can discuss this with, that understands the natural and the spiritual side of God's handiwork, and understand how mankind is mixed up in all of this, right? And wherever you find yourself on that spectrum of belief, you have to know that God is still in control. And that's where we're going to leave it. So, y'all be well, be safe, drink your water. Don't eat all your snacks tonight because we still got a long ride ahead of us. Love you. Take care.